Hello everybody, this is V. Welcome back to Critical Healing Moment. Today I will be doing an update on my budget because last month I did a video about how I am living off my survival budget while I am unemployed. So I wanted to do a quick update on some of the ways that I try to reduce my spending and just some things that I've noticed. So I'm here at my desk today, just wanted to make a casual video. I am super busy this weekend. I have a paper that's due Sunday, which is tomorrow. So don't want to, get too fancy on everything. And yeah, so I have my computer in front of me with some notes. So I will go over my spending for the month of July. And before we get into it, make sure you watch my previous video where I went over my survival budget and just really breaking down all these categories, because I'll be going into some of them in detail and just like talking about some things and referencing things back to that video. Alright, so my overall budget for this month was $1,596. And my actual spending was $1,504. So I did stay within my budget, so I'm really happy about that. I'm not going to go over all the numbers in details, but maybe I will put the numbers up on the screen right now. I do want to talk about a couple highlights, including my food spending budget, which I kind of went over the tips for that in the last video. So I'm really happy that for food spending, I spent only $202 this past month, and my budget was $250. I thought it was going to be really hard for me, but I was really intentional with my spending and my cooking, and I felt like I ate very well this month while staying in budget, and I even ate out a couple of times, and those were really treats for me. I wanted to show some examples of some things that I made during the months to kind of give you some meal ideas. So I took pictures throughout the month and I have them in chronological order, I believe. So the first meal I made that I was really excited about this month was this chili peanut butter chickpea noodles, and it was like Asian inspired. Well, I watched a video by this white chef on YouTube making Asian inspired peanut butter noodles, and whatever, I'm not gonna call it Asian inspired, but I really like peanut butter in my everyday dishes. I'm obsessed with peanut butter and peanuts. I think that it makes every meal taste better. So this was really delicious. So what's in here is it's really simple. It's peanut butter, soy sauce, sesame oil, rice vinegar, and chili oil. Don't measure, just dump it all. I don't know, I don't really measure things that often, but yeah, just dump it all, heat up that, make this sauce. And this is gluten-free, so it's gluten-free pasta that I had in my pantry. I bought it on sale from Safeway a while ago, and I just threw in some things that would add protein. The reason why I made this in the beginning of the month was I didn't want to go shopping right away for groceries. I wanted to see what I could use in my pantry and my fridge, leftovers before. So there are dried chickpeas. Obviously I cooked them and soaked them and cooked them. And then I had some edamame from Frozen. So yeah, that was that meal, and it was really tasty, and it is also vegan and vegetarian and gluten-free. Okay, my next meal was this grilled cheese sandwich that is made from brie, green apples, and Spam on gluten-free cinnamon raisin bread. Yeah, so this was just a really fancy grilled cheese sandwich from leftovers. So I had brie. I know not everyone like buys fancy cheese. No, I think it was from Trader Joe's, so it's like super affordable. Obviously there's Spam in there because, sometimes you just gotta eat Spam. Something that I do if I don't have any ideas is kind of like Google or search on YouTube X ingredient that I have and then look up recipes. So I had brie and I had apples. I knew that they go well together, but I wanted to figure out a way to make it a meal. So I found one for fancy grilled cheese, and then I added Spam because I had it and I wanted some protein. I did not pay for these green apples, but I volunteered to deliver groceries for elders, and the person that runs the program also gives me some groceries and maybe like a meal usually when I can't eat because it's not gluten free after we do the deliveries. So I do get like eggs and fruit from her, which is super nice. So that is actually like a really affordable meal. All right, the next thing I made was stir-fried tofu and mushrooms with basil. Oh my god, I was totally obsessed with this. It's kind of made in a Thai basil chicken kind of style, although I did not look up a recipe for or anything, so I just kind of made it up as I went along. These are dried shiitake mushrooms. It's another tip that's something super affordable. You can get a pack of dried mushrooms from the Asian supermarket for like $5 and they can last forever. You just soak them in water, and shiitake mushrooms have so much flavor. Oh my god, it was so amazing. And I put a lot of mushrooms in there because obsessed. So this tofu was also on sale at the Asian supermarket because it was nearing expiration. So it was 4 for $5, I believe. And this is just one pack. I only used one before the expiration date. I froze the other two, so I think I'll be fine. But I do have another one in the fridge that I haven't used yet. Let me know if you think that it's okay to eat expired tofu. I'm going to look this up later because I have a fear of expired food. But anyways, the sauce in here was, I can't really remember, soy sauce, oyster sauce, sugar, pepper. And then I also threw in some nuts in there. Like, as you've seen, I love putting nuts in my meals. I had some cashews because kind of like that Thai, like cashew chicken kind of thing. And I also had walnuts, which I bought for another meal that I made this month. So I guess these aren't chronological. I forget how I ordered these. So these are my creative leftover meals. And yeah, so mix them all in. I also had some chilies because I made Panang curry, but I didn't take a picture of it. Okay. Well, that was another thing I made, something I really wanted that I craved, that I put into my journal that I made. I didn't take a photo of it. Okay, so yeah, I had all these like Thai ingredients because I wanted to make Thai Panang curry, and that's how this meal ended up. Yeah, and that was really delicious. Ate it with rice. All right, so towards the end of the month, I was running out of food, and one thing I did have was eggs because got them for free from that lady, and I had dill because I bought it for another recipe that I made. So I made egg salad, and I don't really usually, this is my first time making egg salad, honestly, and it was really good. I made the eggs in my Instant Pot, which is super quick. You just put them in for 4 minutes on high pressure, and the yolk is just perfect, and it's super easy to peel. And yeah, it's just dill, mustard, mayonnaise, some salt and pepper, and yeah, just ate it with bread. Right, this next one is a chickpea salad with goat cheese and eggs. So these are leftovers. This is actually something that I ate just a few days ago. I made the chickpeas. Again, chickpeas are super affordable. Buy them dry if you have time to soak them and cook them, and then if you have an Instant Pot, it makes it so much easier. I made the chickpeas because I went to the beach with my partner and just had like, you know, some things to eat that were like picnic type of items. So I had some leftovers from when I came back, and I had lettuce, so I just threw them on the salad. Had eggs, so just, you know, added protein. And I also had some leftover goat cheese from another meal that I made. Would have been great to put walnuts in here. I still have walnuts. You know, my other tip was eat things that you grow, or grow things to save money. So here are some things that I grew that I ate this month. So this is my mustard bed. The mustard looked better before. Some bugs got into it or something and they started eating them up. But I like saved the parts that I could so that I could make some food with it, or make, you know, incorporate it into salads. This is romaine lettuce that I grew from a scrap of a romaine butt, you know, the end of the romaine lettuce head. So this is what it looks like. It looks weird. It's like, is this how lettuce grows? But yeah, it flourished. So I harvested most of the leaves. It's actually flowering now, so it's not really edible anymore. But it looked kind of odd because it didn't look like the romaine that you buy in the store, but it was still lettuce and you could still eat it. And then this is, I don't even know what this is. What is this? Kale. It's kale, but it has like a purple stem. I have no idea what this is. It comes from a mescaline mix, so it could be any variety of sort of that kind of mix in like a spring mix salad. So usually you're supposed to harvest this when it's much younger, but I let it grow. And so I believe it's some variety of kale. So here they are washed, and I turn these into a beet salad. I'm obsessed with beets. So this is just like a side serving I had one day with leftovers with Ethiopian food that I got. That was the one day I did takeout. So there's beets. There are candied walnuts and goat cheese. So, this was something that I really craved. So, and it was, I hate making salads. Honestly, I think salads are really sad. But I think that if you really plan like really good ingredients in your salad and not just like lettuce, cucumbers, tomatoes, and have like some sort of Italian dressing on there, that's a really boring salad. But if you really take the time to make a good salad, they can be really good. So I really wanted to have beet salad with goat cheese and candy walnuts, kind of a classic combination. So I specifically went out and sought out these beets and these walnuts. And these walnuts I got raw. Candied walnuts are much more expensive. So it comes in a smaller bag and it's more expensive than the bigger bag of just raw walnuts. So I made my own candied walnuts, which is super easy. Just put sugar and cinnamon in a pan with the walnuts and just keep stirring them until it starts to melt. You do have to keep an eye on the stove. It was delicious. Oh, and there's also some chickpeas again. Always with the chickpeas. I did not eat a lot of meat this month because I was trying to save money. I didn't eat a lot of meat at all. So here is that kale again. This is really a couple of days ago. I looked out in my garden. It looked kind of sad. So I was like, okay, it's time to harvest the rest of it. And so I picked it all off and I decided to turn it into kale chips. And this is what they look like. And when they were in the oven, I was like, is this kale or not? And then I tasted them and then they didn't look like other kale chips that I've made with kale I bought in the store, but they tasted like kale. So I think it's kale. And this is my giant zucchini that I grew. Oh my God, it was like over a foot long. I wish I actually specifically measured it, but that is my toaster oven in the back. So you can kind of see how big it is. And so I just decided to make some roasted zucchini out of it. And I ate it with a rotisserie chicken from the supermarket. Rotisserie chicken is something that I kind of fall back to when I don't have time to cook and when I'm running out of money in my budget. So I wanted to be very conscious about my spending on meat. So I did buy that rotisserie chicken. I do know technically it's probably more affordable or more cost effective to buy a whole raw chicken and then like cook it yourself and everything. However, I did not have time because as you know, I'm running a paper this week and it's due tomorrow. So yeah, I had this with some roasted potatoes and that chicken, and it was a great little like big Thanksgiving meal. All right. Yeah, I also had jaya or spring rolls, Vietnamese spring rolls this month. I often have cravings for Vietnamese food. So I did get these spring rolls, which I discovered a few months ago, which come frozen in the store. I forget the name of the brand. Maybe I'll look it up and then put a picture. But I believe the boxes are like a couple dollars and you get, I would say like 3 or 4 servings of like these mini spring rolls. And the other great part about it is I believe they are gluten-free, so I have not gotten sick eating them, but the ingredients label is a little bit questionable because it kind of says spring roll wrapper, but it doesn't say the ingredients. But if you kind of read the rest of the ingredients, you don't see any mention of wheat. So they are gluten-free if you don't have celiac disease, and I don't have celiac disease. So they are awesome because usually when you go to the restaurant, spring rolls are made in the wheat-based wrapper. I only know of one restaurant around me that doesn't do it in that and makes it in the rice paper wrapper. There are 2 ways regionally the difference. But anyways, got these. The greens in there are mints from my garden, and then I had to buy lettuce because I am growing more lettuce, but it's not ready to eat yet, so I still have to buy lettuce. And I also got some cucumbers, which I'm also growing, but also my cucumber plants like died. So I am replanting them. So yeah, and there is a vermicelli noodle, so it's bún chả. And another Vietnamese meal that I had this month was this dish called xôi đậu đen, which is a black bean sticky rice. So it is that sticky rice, sweet rice, I forget the technical term for it, but it is a shorter grain and it's much stickier and you use less water when you cook it, mixed in with some black beans. So these are just black beans from the can. Obviously you can get them dry too, but where I was buying the ingredients, they didn't have them dry. So you just it's super easy. Soak the rice overnight and then You drain the rice of all the water, mix it in with black beans, and I use 2 cans for 2 cups of rice, I think. So this will last me like over a week for like breakfast/brunch kind of meals. And then put it into a rice cooker and just barely have water like above the surface. And I did put a little bit too much water. So make sure you drain the black beans too. Then cook it in the rice cooker, and then it's done. You top it off with coconut flakes and peanuts mixed with salt and sugar. Again, the peanuts, love it. What I love about this meal and a lot of other varieties of soy, which is this like Vietnamese sticky rice, is that they are usually mixed with rice and beans. So they are a complete protein, Yeah, I took nutrition class in college once and I learned about this. So they can be very filling and they're very nutritious. So great option for anyone who is a vegan or vegetarian. Once again, I am not a vegan or vegetarian, but a lot of the things I ate this month were. And so that is my last little thing I wanted to show you. Wow, I could talk about all these foods. I just might have to title this video like things that I ate this month on a $202 budget or something. Yeah, what did I eat out? I got Five Guys, which you can also get gluten-free because you can get it bunless. And the fries are gluten-free, not fried, cross-contaminated like other fast food places. Because that day I was out running errands and I was going and buying things for my garden and I didn't have time to make lunch. So I was like right by the hardware store, there was a Five Guys. So I was like, you know what? I feel like I'm about to pass out, so I'm going to have to buy some food right now. I got Ethiopian food, as I mentioned, for takeout with my partner. That was something that I really had a craving for, so I wrote it down in my cravings journal because the last time we were out together, before we got that, we passed by an Ethiopian restaurant and I was like, oh, I want to have Ethiopian food. Yeah, I got coffee once, takeout once, and I went to Starbucks. So that money was already loaded on my Starbucks app. So I didn't actually spend any money this month. I spent that money in a previous month to load my app. So I'm not counting it as money I spent. And then I also got a milkshake on my way home from the beach, just to like have a fun treat on my drive home. I forgot to mention I had that pho and it was $10. Takeout, went out, like I mentioned as a tip, every time I got food out, I went to the store and picked it up. Okay, so I really thought that the food part would be really difficult to stay in budget, but it was actually my miscellaneous budget. I realized that like I'm not really spending a lot of things spontaneously like on myself. A lot of the things that ended up going into the miscellaneous category was just things that I needed. Not really things that I wanted, but things that just came up. Things like stuff that I needed for my garden, because if I wanted to keep my plants alive, I would have to have these things, or donations and things for other people. So I spent most of it just getting things for my garden. I went on a wild goose chase to get some tomato cages because by the time I went out and bought them, they were like sold out everywhere that had them like at a cheaper price. And I had to drive like 30 minutes into a wealthier neighborhood and then pay like $10 per tomato cage. And I have 4 tomato plants. And tomato cages, when I looked online at other places where they were sold out, were like usually under $5. So I'd spent a lot of money on tomato cages. I did end up spending like over $100 in these miscellaneous categories, but then after it reached that $100 mark, I started categorizing it into my home fund. So then I took the money out of my sinking funds and then transferred it into my checking account to be able to pay off my credit card. So now I'm going to go more into my sinking funds, which I do not include in my monthly budget, but they are a part of my annual budget. So I do plan when I had money, when I had income, I did plan for how much was going into the sinking fund categories because I did estimate how much I would spend in those categories. So as I mentioned in the last video, water bill was due this month. It is quarterly. and that was around $85. And then with the total of all my gardening supplies that kind of went over that $100 miscellaneous budget, that was a total of $104. I had to pay a driving ticket that I got pre-pandemic, and I tried to contest it online, and I was like, okay, like, we'll see what we can do because maybe no one's gonna see this because we're in a crisis. But that ended up being rejected, and that was $100. I had to pay that. And then my car insurance is due in August. I actually made a call to my car insurance company to try to see if I could get any lower prices because I'm not driving my car that much. I drive my car once a week instead of every day. There are some places and some companies where you can get a low mileage discount. Unfortunately, where I live, there is none, but being able to speak to the customer service representative, she was able to ask me different kinds of questions to see if I would qualify for other kinds of discount. We updated the record for my employment, and I said I was a graduate student, so I was able to get a discount because of that. So that stuff, like, for whatever reason, matters to car insurance companies. So I did manage to save about $30 over the 6 months of that. So better than nothing. I am no way like a master at negotiating any like sort of prices, but I do recommend just giving it a try. And I think this is my second time really doing it, and it can just be good practice to negotiating and being able to save you money, because companies are not going to tell you upfront the ways that you can save money. Let's be honest. So with all of that, I had to spend $511 for my car sinking fund. Okay, so as you can maybe tell, I'm wearing different glasses. So my other glasses broke. They're actually right here on my desk. What? These are actually my second pair. Like, where's the other ones? They're somewhere around here. My cat knocked them down. They broke, and I did not qualify for another replacement because they had already been replaced once. So I had to buy a new pair of glasses, and I went this time with wire frames and not plastic ones because I thought the wire frames would be more durable. So these are from iBuyDirect, and they were $45. So I had to also buy a new laptop charger because mine was acting up and it wasn't charging all the time when it was plugged in. And that was $44. I'm just sighing because people really create technology to break and make us spend more money. So I am gonna go back to kind of talking about my overall budget. I did stay within my budget, like I mentioned in the beginning, for most of the categories. Actually, the only category that I went over was utilities. And, you know, utilities is not always something that you can have control over because it's like really hot and stuff. So, but I did stay within budget for most of the other categories. So I do want to try to continue to trim down my budget because I do think that, you know, approximately $1,600 is way too much. Obviously, like the cost of living where I am is really high, but I do want to try to minimize it even more and see how much more frugal I can get. So one category that I think that I can save a lot more money in is pets. So I actually spent only about like $19 this month, and my budget is $40. I actually ended up canceling a lot of my cat's automatic deliveries for the wet food that I've been feeding him, because ever since the pandemic started, he's been very picky with the food. So he doesn't like certain flavors. So I canceled the deliveries for them. And he's a spoiled cat, so he gets like one flavor in every possible flavor in this brand. But I canceled some of those because he wasn't eating them. And I actually might end up not feeding him wet food altogether. So he does get a mix of wet food and dry food because I believe that that balance is healthier for him. And he also is on a grain-free and gluten-free diet, like myself, a gluten-free cat, because he has, I don't know, I could go into depth and this video is already too long. When I first got him, he would have like what I would call asthma attacks. We went to the vet and the vet was like, we can't diagnose him with asthma, we can't detect anything, whatever. But I did some research, and some other cat owners recommended going on a grain-free and gluten-free diet to reduce the symptoms, and that has definitely helped him. So that's why he's on this diet, and that's why some of his food is a little bit more expensive. His dry food is also grain-free and gluten-free, so you might just end up switching over to dry if that ends up being more cost effective overall. And if you're wondering what brand he eats Crave for dry food and Wholehearted, which is a Petco brand. The other thing that I can save money on for pet expenses is litter. So I usually get a tub of litter delivered using Chewy's auto delivery service, and I am a fan of those because I don't have to worry about it, and they usually are more cost effective. However, I just found out Petco has in their in-store, and I don't know if they have it in every store, but they have this like, it's like a pile of litter, clean litter, and you bring your own tub like of certain sizes. So it's like, I believe it's 15 pounds or 30 pounds or something. And I have one of the big ones, a Tidy Count one. So you just bring the empty one in there and you fill it up, and they just charge you based off of either 15 or 30 pounds. And that is less than $10, which is, it's $14 on Chewy. And then with Chewy, you do have to purchase enough to get the free shipping, or otherwise you pay for shipping too. So I think that moving forward, I'm going to just buy this kind of litter because of two reasons. It is more cost effective, and it's also reducing waste because you're not using more plastic. Although those plastic bins I use for composting, so I'm not throwing them in the trash. I am by no means the most sustainable person, and I don't live a zero waste lifestyle, but I do believe in trying to reduce and reuse things as much as you can. But those are some ways that I think I want to try to reduce my pet budget. The other thing about this and about sustainability when it comes to trying to change your spending habits is to not change everything all at once. It's not really a thing that you can do cold turkey, because I think that you could really reduce your budget, but then you end up not being able to live like that and then just go on a spending spree. I feel like it's a much more sustainable way to change your habits by doing them slowly. So, you know, this month I did my food mostly, and then next month I'll probably keep an eye on my miscellaneous spending, and then pet spending. I think it will be pretty easy to trim down, and then slowly I can also try to find other ways to save money. So I am starting to feel a little bit of anxiety around not working and financial instability, even though mentally and looking at the numbers, I know that I'll be fine for a few months. I think it's just because I have to put in a request for my student loans coming soon. I'm just thinking about like how much a tuition is going to be. I am taking more credits because I'm doing my field internship. That is going to be a lot of loans, and just thinking about it is really daunting. For the past year, I've been able to afford going to grad school based off of my savings and also based off of my income. So I only took out $5,000 of loans. I think next year I'm going to have to take out more than $30,000 because I don't have a job right now and I don't have any more savings to spend on school. So that's just really nerve-wracking, I guess. I'm also not someone who has had to deal with student loans before. Like for undergrad, I didn't have to take out loans. But I feel like as an adult thinking about taking out student loans, I think that I have a lot more just like knowledge about finances and about working than someone who is 17 years old and starting undergrad and taking out loans for the first time. So I do feel like I have an advantage here. And I know that some of my most viewed videos on my channel are my grad school bullet journal spreads. So maybe there are some of y'all out there who are students, like whether you are undergrad students or graduate students, let me know if you're following me and you're a student, and also like if you would be interested in me talking more about student loans in my videos. I think that as I believe in a lot of things with finances, it's really important to be transparent, and it's really important that we are talking about how we are managing our money, because the less we talk about it, the more like we get exploited by capitalism, right? Yeah, so I can definitely make a video on taking out student loans, and I'm thinking about making a video on determining your budget for how much loans to take out too. Yeah, that might come out in the future because I have to do that very soon. If you're interested in any of that, let me know in the comments, and also make sure you subscribe so that you are updated when those videos come out. So that is it for this video. If you're on your own financial journey, just know that it is a slow process to shifting your spending habits. You know, like I can do this because I have been very careful about my money, like for the past 5 years, and it's become a habit. It's not always been this way. Like I have not been this frugal my whole life. It's not something that you can change immediately or even in 1 month. It's really sort of an ongoing practice, and the slow process of personal and social transformation is really what I hope this channel can be about. So make sure you subscribe to my channel and hit the bell button. I never hit the bell button, you know, because I hate notifications. So, you know, hit the bell button or no. Subscribe to my channel if you're interested, and thanks for watching. Bye!